VRChat Public Worlds. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, and some are just downright ugly. Every instance you join can be a bit of a gamble, with such a vast variety of different people to encounter. You may not know this, but public lobbies weren't always this wild.
Subscribe to Ghost Quartz. You'll probably regret it.
VRChat started in 2014, but really kicked off in late 2017 with its release on Steam. Since then, well, it's only gotten way bigger. Right before the blow up of 2017, the community was small, around 300 plus concurrent players a day. Majority of the community back then was friendly and very helpful. You'd see the same people every day, even if you didn't add them. Though you didn't spawn alone in the safety of your VRChat home. Sounds terrifying, doesn't it? Well, not really. Every time you'd put that headset on, you spawned into a public hub world. You never knew what you were going to get. It was instant interaction with someone different, something different happening every hub. It was social, it was good, it was beautiful. April 2018, public hubs were basically dead. Soon after the update, you would defaultly spawn into your own private home. Seriously, why take out such a social feature in a social game? Why not just default hubs with the option to set private worlds? Or, upon creating your account, just give people the option to choose. Alright, I'll stop ranting. With VRChat being as big as it is now, public worlds are not the same as they used to be. I noticed that when people find their groups of friends, often enough, they rarely touch public lobbies, and even when they do, chances are they're gonna sit in a circle of their own friends anyways. So what's left inside public worlds? Well, you have your typical trolls that have been saying the same jokes since 2017. You have your e-boys and i-ladies talking about whatever they talk about. The edgy people trying to crash your game for some reason. Of course, you have your drunks and... Oh God. And there are kids.
Get off, get off, get off, get off. Grabbing your mama up in her bed sheets and throwing that bitch down the stairs.
With the release of Oculus Quest, now MetaQuest, in 2019, VRChat was stormed with children. If you go to a public world that's Quest compatible, chances are you're gonna run into a lot of children and they'll be screaming, farting, and crying. While I won't get into it, VRChat is definitely not the safest place for children, as most online games aren't. One major good thing did come out of the Quest headsets though, and that's accessibility. I'd say the majority of VRChat's population is MetaQuest owners these days, thanks to its affordable situation. And that's pretty cool. Who cares about my silly little opinions on public worlds though? Let's ask the community some questions. What year did you start VRChat?
I started playing VRChat in early 2019.
Tail end of, what was it, 2018? Yeah, 2018. So around September.
I've been playing VRChat since 2017, took a break in 2018, came back in 2019, been playing since.
September 2019.
2019. I think it was late 2019. Oh, no, it was early 2019. Around springtime, I think.
2020.
I started VRChat in 2022, actually. So, relatively recently.
How would you describe public worlds from when you started to now?
They were a lot better back then, I'll tell you that much. A lot safer and a lot more fun. There was a lot more memes going on, and there's still memes going around public worlds now, but I venture forth to a lot of public worlds like even Pug and FBT Heaven, and it's all just quiet. Either people are sitting in front of the mirrors or just, I guess some are talking, but not really about anything fun.
I definitely go to them a lot less than I used to. There's still a good way to meet people, I think. It's just, it is a different vibe. I feel like there is more kids, but that's maybe just me getting older as a person. Maybe I've matured more. Maybe I was the annoying person at the beginning, but now I run into annoying people all the time at Publix.
From when I've started to now with public worlds, I wouldn't say they've changed much in my personal experience, as limited as that might be. It normally is a bunch of disconnected conversations that are going on in most of them, for the most part. And you run into a bunch of different people there, actually.
When I started, Public Worlds seemed to be a lot more, I guess, like there was a lot more, I wouldn't say variety. I can't really speak for like Public Worlds now just because I don't really go to them as much like nowadays, but when I was there, it was still like on the tail end of the whole like Ugandan Knuckles thing, where everybody would walk around and like those avatars or like whatever default avatars in Avatar World like publics that were popular at the time. You would meet like a few interesting characters every now and then, especially like because I think that was also at a time where VRC YouTube content was like popping off. You had like those interviews, those honor interviews that were going on with like, I forgot his name, but there's this one dude who was like role-playing an Italian mafia boss. I used to watch a lot of his stuff, and he used to like go around in Publix and stuff, and I would also watch like Blue Moon or whatever the hell his name is, the Korean guy. I would watch a lot of his content. I think that was around then when I first started getting into VR. Your original question comparatively to now, I can't really say. I mean, the few experiences I've had in Publix now have been like a lot of I guess the same reason why I avoid them is because I find a lot of underage users and kids, whether you have like freaking literal 12-year-olds screaming at the top of their lungs into their Christmas quest, or if you have like people in their mid-teens like talking about high school tier drama within their friend circles. It's like all the same conversation. It's not really either that, and you have like people who go out of their way to like, who feel the need to like prove themselves as trolls and whatnot, trying to get a rise out of people. I find those are like the three main groups I find whenever I go to Publix now, but that's just me.
I describe them very different.
From when I started, that's like the first place I went. I went to Publix, and then I made some friends from there and switched to Friends Plus and never really went back to Publix just because, I don't know, I wasn't like extremely outgoing at the time. But it's different as, just the time has gone on. Like, for example, we go to like public pugs sometimes with the boys, and that's always fun. I'd say going to Publix with a group is different though. Like if you go to like a public pug with like a group of people, then it's like just chat with them and have a good time, but you can also chat with a bunch of random people that come in. And now I end up in a lot of public game lobbies, like prison escape lobbies, murder lobbies, all that kind of stuff. And I always have a blast in those, and I usually like, there's a lot of cool people there. Sometimes you'll get like people who aren't as cool, or like you'll find a lot of kids. But like, I mean, just ignore them if they're like, a bother or something like that. Or we could just swap to a different public lobby and that's it. I have a good time at Publix.
My opinion is kind of like what everyone I've talked to is that Public Worlds are kind of like harder to find good ones now than they were back then. Just because if you were in VR and you saw someone with a VR headset, there was a higher barrier to entry, so that means they were passionate about it and cared about it a little more. And then today you kind of like you got the quest lobbies and a lot of people who have quests, and sometimes they can be a little much.
They're mostly filled with shit posters, but like it was kind of like in a roleplay way, where most people were just vibing. It wasn't as bad as it is now, where it's just filled with a lot of little kids and a lot of people who don't understand that worlds are filled with little kids, to put it in a polite way.
Do you enjoy Public Worlds, and how often do you go?
Usually if I hop on a weekday, I'll end up in a public at some point. And occasionally on the weekend, but not very often on the weekend. That's usually more Friends Plus, and I have a great time in the Publix.
I do enjoy some public worlds, but I usually end up going to PC only worlds for public. I did recently actually attempt to try out public worlds that had just like quest users, and it did not end up very well. Just a lot of, casual trolling, racial slurs and screaming. And I really gave it a try, and I was surprised that it's actually that bad sometimes. But yeah, I do public op every once in a while. I usually just stick to PC only worlds.
I don't enjoy public worlds, but I haven't been into them in quite some time. So they might have changed now, but the last time I was in them, they were mostly filled with unsavory types in the community.
I enjoy them for the fact that they are a thing I can observe, but I don't go to them very often anymore now.
I only really enjoy the public worlds I go to when I'm having conversations with the people I joined off of. I don't normally go to the public worlds myself. So it's kind of rare that I end up going there. I mostly started using VRChat because I joined a group, a community, so they normally stick to Friends Plus and things like that more than public instances, but it's nice experiencing it every now and then, still having someone I know I can chat with in public instances.
I enjoy public worlds if I'm like with a group of friends to hang out with and just sit with. But at the same time, going to public worlds with like groups of friends also sort of it changes the experience that you get in Publix, just because when you're in Publix, you're sort of like on your own, and so is like everybody else. It's sort of like it turns into a solo game, kind of in a way, because you're meeting other individuals who have no sort of biases or reason to say anything because of like whatever influence their friend has over them. I think that's like one thing. The way that I enjoy Publix now though is just like going with friends and just like I guess people watching is what I would describe it. A lot of people. The last time I went to Publix with friends, I found it funny because the last time I went, people were still in awe of seeing a full body user. They're like, "Whoa, you guys all have full body? That's crazy!" Stuff like that.
I don't really go to public worlds very often anymore. I mainly get on this game to see the same people. I feel like I know a lot of people already, so I don't want to, I don't know, socially exert myself that much all the time. But I'll go like once or twice a week, I guess, mainly game worlds.
Let me finish by saying public worlds are wonderful. It's how I met my friends, and it's probably how you met yours. Every now and then, you find some truly amazing people out there, goofing off, vibing, just truly having a great time. So consider giving public worlds more chances if you do spend most of your time in Friends Plus or private worlds. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel. My goal is to surpass 1K subscribers this year, and I plan on giving it my all. Thanks for watching, and have a great one.